Welcome back to the Dallas Meetup Dime, where we get straight to the value in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and today I'm joined by an entrepreneur, innovator, investor, mentor, and community servant who's putting all those skills to work right here in Dallas. He's a Dallas native. He built ParkHub, a subscription-based platform that optimizes parking operations with innovative, cutting-edge technology. After successfully exiting ParkHub, he's now deploying capital to worthy DFW founders through his firm To the Moon Ventures. Please help me welcome George Baker Sr.
Thank you, Carson. Glad to be here.
How are you, sir?
I'm well.
We featured you at the February cohort focused on venture capital, and I have to say, you're this golden boy that runs in all the best circles in town. You've got all the access, but you are a true, genuine player.
Thank you.
You actually stood in line. Sorry for dominating, but you stood in line for 20, 30 minutes to get in that night.
Yeah.
And I freaked out because you were a VIP and shouldn't have sat through that. But your spirit of, I wanted to overhear the chatter. I wanted to meet people in line, told me who you were as a person. And I'm excited to showcase that today.
As I'm on the approach coming into this this event, I was blown away with the amount of people. And it was really exciting. So Dallas hasn't had a meetup, no pun on Dallas Meetup, but like that to connect the community. And I was drawn to hear what the chatter was, all positive. So kudos, it was great.
You know, what's crazy is Dallas Meetup has never had a better meetup than that meetup in terms of like overarching page impressions, head count, bar tab. It was kind of an all-time high for everything.
Yeah.
So I've gone to the Beat Lab and figured out why that was and how we can recreate that, get lightning in a bottle twice. But will you tell us high level? I want to know more about the ParkHub story.
Yeah. So important to note, as you mentioned, born and raised here in Dallas, and come from a family that's owned and operated commercial parking since the early 70s. So that's Parking Company of America. If you've been downtown, you've parked with the family. And so since I grew up in that industry, and it's a largely cash sector, and I'm a technologist, as I got out of school, I started solutioning and wanted to create a digital record around the transaction because it was blind prior to that. It was perforated sequentially numbered tickets or dollars being stuffed in a machine or coins being turned in a dial for a meter. So no digital record. No understanding around the customer, no insights, and data is now being monetized. But at the then time when I started ParkHub in 2010 was kind of like the new oil, right? So like you aggregate it, put it in a lake, data lake, and then mine it and figure out what you can do with it later. Parking, commercial parking, $40 billion market segment that was kind of ripe for disruption. And used the transaction to deliver a fintech subscription model that ultimately drove business intelligence and changed the way that the transaction was conducted, the industry is managed. And if you have parked and paid with credit card in the last decade, high likelihood it was run through the platform.
I feel like that's our de facto option now.
Yeah, it is.
People don't want you to siphon off, a 20 here and there from a cash transaction.
Yep.
Were there any metrics surrounding that of like preservation of actual retail value or something?
The metrics were staggering, which is how we were able to grow so quickly, get market share, and attract the investor base in which we did. Revenue lifts were often over 50%, kind of. In like standard was 30, so depended on how poorly maybe the operation was being run after we implemented. You had a ecological carbon footprint reduction about 30%, because you can't manage what you can't measure, and a lot of these operations, specifically sports entertainment, where you had a high volume of throughput vehicles entering for a finite time, puck drops, tip off, kickoff, whatever that might be, act goes on. you have traffic congestion because people are trying to park. When you understand the load in a surrounding area, you can deploy resources faster. So cars were moving to the right spots faster because police force on the ground, as well as traffic lighting, was getting them to the right direction, which then allowed for cars to actually park closer to the venue because they're moving faster and things aren't getting shut off. And we actually saw guest satisfaction scores increase. So fan experience elevated. So
I've sold several SaaS products over my life, and to have a hard-edged ROI like what you have going to market, where NPS is going up, like preservation of funds, like that, it's mind-blowing. Did you reference your family and kind of growing up in a parking family of sorts? Were they your initial beta group users? Like, who did you sell this to first?
So the first sale was to American Airlines Center.
Okay.
They were my first client. Second client was BBT Pavilion Center in Florida. The Panthers. Then it was the Lightning, and then AT&T Stadium with Jerry Jones. That brought in an investment from Blue and Silver Ventures. And literally that timeline, now we're in early 2015. And then from 15 really through COVID was just banana growth.
So you had venture from the most valuable sports franchise in the world backing you, and basically kind of as your go-to-market for every other stadium in the world that you've... What percentage of domestic stadiums do you now run on ParkHub technology?
I think over 70% in the four major, the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB.
Oh, wow.
And then we have international presence. So the O2 in London, lots of stuff. In 2022 or 23, we acquired JustPark out of the UK, which basically doubled the footprint of the business, gave us global reach. So most sports venues in the country use it. A lot of universities and cities, and obviously parking operators.
You referenced yourself as a technologist, but it very much feels like you matched up a pain point and then built tooling to satisfy that pain point.
Yep.
Almost more like an MBA would. So which one are you? Which one would you lead with? Businessman or technologist or?
Pure entrepreneur.
Okay.
Find an opportunity and solve the problem. Really good at building teams, solutioning, driving innovation, recognizing my deficiencies, bringing in advisors or domain experts to fill those gaps, democratizing genius. So listening to everybody. Mm-hmm. That has served me very well.
I could spend an hour on ParkHub, but I want to fast forward to the Moon Ventures and how you're deploying some of the bounty that you got from your prior entrepreneurial activities. So what are you looking to invest in? What does the model look like?
Yeah. So what I invest in is the founder or the management team, founding team, coupled with the opportunity. Opportunity is largely weighed in addressable market size. So I'm a founder backing founders. I'm industry agnostic. I'm stage agnostic to where you are in your business lifecycle journey. And I like to bring creative capital. As I was raising all the venture and growth equity dollars, I found myself really raising for two specific reasons: R&D, and then people. And it was always over hiring. Maybe it could have been a CRO or a CTO, or now I built out an executive team. Now I'm building a new go-to-market team. so I need SDRs and I need this outbound, because the business evolution, in the life cycle of the business, the strategies and the tactics change clearly, right? So fundamentally, maybe monetization strategy, but the first 100 sales are different than the next 250, which are different than the kind of the long tail, how you chase it. Those dollars go to build these teams to get to this lookout point. So as I started getting with founders and looking how I could help drive value with them, they would come with these asks like, hey, I need, $250,000. I need $1 million. And these were kind of like arbitrary numbers in which they had put together kind of a rough use of funds, which probably was right, but understanding now what I know and how to build, and now where we are in just like with the use of AI and all of these other things, more with less. I firmly subscribe to MVP from a build perspective. So you can be very, very scrappy by leveraging project or fractional or interim resources through a strategic resource group that we have at To the Moon. You can like short circuit a lot of these dollars that you need for growth, and then you get to this lookout point with us, or you don't, and we're going to help you all along the way.
It sounds like To the Moon Ventures accompanies a check with pragmatic know-how that makes that check go a little bit further than maybe the next firm in town.
Yeah, and I think it's just a different time to build. Where once it was, I want a pile of cash, and I think there's a misnomer that people like to value their businesses on headcount. And then they wrap headcount with, these intangible kind of, cultural and, things that you do in an office, which hopefully people still go back to offices. But my point is, you don't necessarily need all of those things, and that's not really how you value a business, right? Mm-hmm. Although one of the most gratifying things was that job creation, but you can build a lot more efficient and make a bigger impact. And when you do that, you don't have to get to the you can have a better outcome and not have to get to such a higher point.
Lowest amount of effort expended for the highest amount of ROI.
That's right.
George Baker Sr., To the Moon Ventures, thank you so much for coming in, sir.
Glad to do it.